Good morning, John and Chanel. This will no doubt be the most colorful Tea Party rally to date. It's called Unity. That's UNITEA. And organizers are out to dispel the belief that the Tea Party is a racist movement. Front page of this morning's Daily News says it all. Drop dead. That's Mayor Nutter's message to this pension program, which turns out is costing the city more than $250 million. And for every one of those six-figure lump sum payouts that city retirees get, a big chunk of that's coming from the city's pockets. Where, it's in the 80s right now. It feels really comfortable. Unfortunately, it's going to be a lot hotter by the time these chairs fill up with parade goers. Good morning, Chanel. Just last week we stood in front of Engine 57 as firefighter union leaders warned that shutting down firehouses would have deadly consequences. Now we stand in front of a makeshift memorial for 12-year-old Frank, who, in spite of living around the corner from a firehouse, no one from there came to his rescue. 12-year-old Frank couldn't speak, but he made quite an impression on his neighbors. Think the little boy might still be alive if Engine 57, which is right around the corner, had been open.
There it is right there, in loving memory of Frank. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 houses.
You think that's the proof right there?
That's it. It speaks for itself, loud and clear.
They would have gotten here quicker than 68. Absolutely they would have. But one of the things we have to remember is that because you live around the corner from a firehouse, because you're right next door, doesn't mean that you're not going to die in a fire if you haven't done the right thing.
Commissioner Ayers says the home didn't have working smoke detectors, and that's where the blame lies. Not on a new policy that deactivates up to 3 fire companies a shift to save the city $3.8 million in overtime. Engine 57 had been browned out all day Saturday. Firefighters were back on the job by the time this fire broke out, but were on the other side of town picking up equipment.
They probably would have had water on this fire in under 3 minutes. It could have made a difference.
Ayers says a crew was on the scene in 3 minutes, well above their 5-minute goal. But firefighter union leaders say that's not possible.
There's no way Engine 68 was here in 3 minutes. If anything, it was probably closer to 5 minutes. When you start taking those pieces out, it's common sense. Your response times are going to go up and people are going to die.
Now, we do have this response sheet for Saturday's fire. It says here that the first crew on the scene, a battalion chief, arrived at 3 minutes and 42 seconds, but there's no indication as to when the fire truck made it on the scene. Now, Commissioner Ayers says he, along with other members of the fire department, will be in the community at 3 o'clock this afternoon to hand out smoke detectors. As for the cause of this fire, it remains under investigation. We're live in West Philly. I'm Chandler, Fox 29 News. Chanel, back to you. Yes, a heavy police presence here at the Roosevelt Motor Inn. This is where the search for Omar Roane has led investigators. We've seen K9, we've seen the SWAT team go in and outside of this motel. Police have not said what they have found here, if anything, but it's clear that Omar Roane is still a man on the run.
We are following all the leads.
Philly PD have called on the feds to help them find 22-year-old Omar Roane, an accused killer who escaped less than 24 hours after being charged with the 2009 murder of 17-year-old Kyrie Young.
We're hoping to bring him back in without any further incident.
Roane and 2 other prisoners were on their way to Curran-Fromhold Correctional Facility Saturday afternoon. When the police van they were in stopped at a red light, the 3 men bolted. Police caught 2 of them, but in spite of being cuffed, Roane got away.
The door was secured, but it did have some kind of bolt that malfunctioned. And the individuals on the inside, it's believed that they were able to force that in such a way that the door became ajar and they were able to escape. So right now, the commissioner has ordered those particular vans, the vans like that van, off the street, and they're being evaluated now to make sure that this don't happen again.
We've seen the SWAT team come out of the motel, though there are still a lot of police here at this motel investigating this scene here. At the same time that Kyrie Young's mother found out that an arrest had been made in her son's murder is when she found out that the accused killer had escaped. There is a $2,500 reward for any information about the whereabouts of Omar Roane. Also, police asking for anyone that knows anything about his whereabouts to call 911 because he is considered dangerous. Some homes in Millville have no damage at all, but you go across the street and you see others that felt the full force of this storm, and now they're left trying to pick up the pieces. Don Siebert had plans for his Monday morning. Cleaning up storm damage wasn't what he had in mind.
Nothing like this has ever happened, no. I've had like a single branch fall down before, but this is the worst ever.
It was chaotic, but it only lasted like 10 minutes. It wasn't that long of a storm.
But this fast-moving storm didn't need a lot of time to do big damage. It uprooted trees, knocked down utility poles, flattened fences, ripped off awnings, and littered the streets with tree limbs. Pleasant Street now looks anything but pleasant.
Well, it looked like a disaster area. I guess technically it could be considered a disaster area.
There was just deck furniture flying everywhere. I mean, it was incredible. The umbrellas that were up just took off into the trees.
It was scary, but, you know, I figured if it was my time, I'd be gone.
To make matters worse, many in this neighborhood have no power. The winds ripped the power box clear off this house, and down lines forced crews to close off Don Siebert Street to traffic.
The road is bearing the weight of this because it's hanging at the top on my neighbor's live power cord. I guess it's not live now.
If there's any good to come out of this storm did bring cooler temperatures, which means they at least don't have to clean up in the blistering heat. Reporting in Millville, New Jersey, I'm Chandler, Fox 29 News. The saying grin and bear took on new meaning today in Horsham when one community came face to face with a living, breathing bear that had made himself quite comfortable among the houses and apartments nearby.
I saw police coming up and down the street, and I walked outside, and I knew one of the officers, and he asked if I had seen it, and I said, "Seen what?" And he said, "A bear." And I said, "No, I haven't seen a bear." I thought he was kidding around.
But this was as real as it gets. A 2.5-year-old black bear had wandered from somewhere in New Jersey to Horsham Township. This park-like area in between this apartment complex and rows of houses was where he chose to hang out for the day. I suppose he missed the no loitering sign.
It was only about this high. It looked like a huge dog.
I was a little scared because I was thinking maybe it would come across the street and then try to attack us.
We just wanted to keep him contained and keep him from getting hurt. And I didn't anticipate that he had any intentions on hurting anyone at all.
Believe it or not, black bears are not known for being confrontational, but this is still a wild animal we're talking about, and when it came running through the woods into this front yard, Kathy Rowe wasn't taking any chances.
I was scared and I ran into the house.
2 tranquilizer shots did him in, and the bad news for this bear was his day in the suburbs was over.
Kids are out playing all the time, and to think that a bear could make its way here it's got to be scary for the parents who have the young children.
There have been bear sightings before in Horsham, but this is the first time one was actually caught.